Everybody, we are back. If you guys saw, we were actually on here about an hour ago. We are connecting with our friend Rebecca, who's in Thailand right now. We are going to send her an invite so that she can hop on. We were an hour early on our side, so we hopped on and we're a little bit embarrassing. Hey, there she is.
Hey!
But now we have the right time. We're here with Rebecca.
Hey, amazing. Yeah, I was like, I think I joined your live and then I was like, no, that's not what you do.
That was 100% our bad. We sent you probably like 3 or 4 invites on accident. And then also messaged you on WhatsApp, and we were all sorts of confused. So, our bad.
No worries. No worries. How's America?
Oh, it's cold. It's cold. For anyone watching, we met Rebecca when we were in Vietnam. She's now in Thailand.
No, she's back in Vietnam.
Oh, you're back in Vietnam again?
I'm back in Vietnam, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So jealous.
I mean, it looks sunny. The sun is shining on your face and it looks beautiful. And we are cold and bundling up in sweatshirts here in California, of all places.
Wow, okay. Well, it's kind of like, I kind of miss that warm, cuddle feeling of cold.
Get all snuggly. Monica does not miss it.
I hate the cold, though. I hate being cold. But yeah, so we're super excited to have you on today just to like chat with us and for our audience about the importance of outsourcing. And so first of all, before we get started, I want you to explain to our audience why you are the person to talk to about outsourcing.
Yeah, so basically in some shape or form, I've been doing it for around 3 years to varying levels of success for myself. And then I sort of, long story short, I kind of found a way or a method to screen people and find like the best possible people to help me. And sort of at the same time, increasingly had like friends or people I know want to find really good people to help them with work or with as a VA or as whatever, and like increasingly started to realize that actually like there is a way to find really amazing people to work for you, and the reason I'm sort of saying this is because often the expectations are quite low when the idea of a VA comes into play. Like you think like data entry, you think just someone who has very basic skills. But I'm really trying to explain to people that is just simply not the case, and you can find someone who can really help you, just like you would find someone in the US or the UK.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, we loved hearing your story, just how it all kind of grew and happened very organically. That you were, you started helping friends and people that you knew, people in your circle, and how it grew from there. And yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of talent out there that sometimes goes unnoticed that can really help small business owners, and I mean, maybe help them in ways that they didn't realize before.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just sort of like, for me, it's a no-brainer, right? Like if you are a small business owner or an entrepreneur and you need help or you want some expertise in a certain area, like having someone help you can make all the difference. And if that someone both has the skills and is like well within your budget range, because they live in a different country where wages are much lower and living is much more affordable, then it totally makes sense.
Yeah. That's one of the coolest things when we were talking to you. I remember like walking on the beach with you one day and you were talking about what you did, and I was like, man, like it'd be super nice to outsource someday. Like that's always been a goal of ours, to be able to outsource, but I thought that was like way down the line, and you really opened my eyes to the possibilities of being able to outsource a lot sooner than we thought. So when do you know if somebody's ready to outsource? Like if people watching this are thinking like, oh, like I'd like to outsource someday, what encouragement do you have, or when do you know somebody is ready to outsource?
Yeah, sure. So, I would always encourage people to try it, even if they're not ready to hire. And like you know, obviously things like Upwork and Fiverr, and like, you know, I'm not against people using those platforms. Like, I think they can be really helpful for getting to know the idea of like, okay, I can delegate, and just get experience with working with other people, because I think most business owners kind of have the goal that they're not always going to be doing every little thing in their business, right? Like, and usually these business owners or entrepreneurs, they're like the visionaries, the ideas, they have so much in that space, but like the day-to-day kind of bogs them down. I mean, I kind of have a joke that like, if you think your time's worth more than like $5 or $6 an hour, why aren't you outsourcing? But I think that's a little harsh. But like, yeah, I think people should make space for it as soon as possible, even if it's like, you know, even if you said your budget is like, I don't know, $50 a week or less, and that's not necessarily, and you know, actually, I think that outsourcing, the term, like, we all use it because it's familiar, but it can be like, okay, like you could be like, okay, I have $50 a week, but I'm really tight right now, and I actually don't want to spend $50 a week on someone else. Okay, but would you spend $50 a week on someone who has expertise that you don't have to help you grow your business? Like, it's just like a slightly different frame of mindset. Like, I also think outsourcing is important. Like, if you're doing busy tasks and like all these kind of things are like distracting you from like the kind of more directory tasks and leading your business, then of course it makes sense to delegate those kind of more mundane tasks. But
Yeah.
I think there should be space for it at every level. Like, you know, like you could find someone for $10-15 who has some really good experience on Upwork, who might be able to give you some advice on something you've been spending ages like looking into. Or yeah, like there's always space for it. And I think if you make space for it from the beginning, then you kind of open your business up to help and to other people, and you can grow faster.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I really love that you started by saying to experiment with it. I think that's one of the great things about being a business owner is it's one giant experiment, right? You get to try out things that work and things that don't. And if you try out, you know, outsourcing part of your business to somebody, you're not stuck with that forever. Whether it's the specific person that's not working out or the job that you're trying to fill, that's not what you actually needed, even though maybe you thought it was. You're not locked into that forever. Like it's an experiment and you try it out and then you can tweak things and change it. And I think sometimes people are afraid of outsourcing or hiring somebody to help them because they think it's going to be too big of a commitment.
Yeah, and it you know, I do get that if you're like being presented with the idea, oh, I've got to hire someone full time, I've got to have all these responsibilities. But I think, yeah, it's just to move away from that and accept help and just establish it as a principle that, like, you know, doing everything alone is not always the best use of your time or energy. I mean, sometimes, yeah, I don't know. There's plenty of really cool one woman or one man shows around, but yeah, I just think it's a tool that like using AI or like doing other things that is like fundamental to a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Because most businesses at some point will hire, right? Like not all, but many. So like from that context, like what if hiring can be 4 or 5 times cheaper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Same skills, same expertise. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think a lot of business owners get burned out because they feel like either they're not ready to hire or they feel like they can't financially hire because they're thinking it's going to be so expensive. And they get burned out because they're doing all these things that really aren't their expertise or in their wheelhouse, but they're trying to stretch themselves to cover all the places, all the things in business, right? So if instead they recognize that you can hire from different places in the world, you can hire for much cheaper, and you can hire much sooner than you ever thought. It has such a powerful effect in your business and how you yourself view your business, right? And it'll keep you in your zone of genius and keep you working on the thing that you're actually good at, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When are you joining my sales team, Monica?
Yeah. Yeah, I should.
She's taken, sorry.
I mean, I am such a big fan of your business. Absolutely. And it's been such a phenomenal process working with you. And for anybody who's watching either live or the replay, we have actually gone through and done a full episode with Rebecca where she really like dives in and she tells some really cool stories of some of her past clients and like the night and day difference it's made hiring.
And it's a special episode for us because it was the very first episode that we recorded with somebody else in person.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of a fun new thing for us to do. It was a lot of fun to invite Rebecca over and have that interview live.
That was awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely go check that out. That just went live on our podcast on Wednesday. So go listen to that full thing because Rebecca shares all sorts of awesome nuggets of wisdom about hiring.
Yeah, and Rebecca, for anybody listening to this who wants to connect with you, why don't you go ahead and shout out your website and shout out the best way to connect with you.
Yeah. So my website at the moment is WorkFreer. We're actually splitting into two websites. So the hiring sort of vetting process for finding people to help people's businesses, it will be hiredbeyondborders.com, but it's sort of live in the next couple of weeks. So just head over to workfreer.net.
How exciting. I'm excited to see that new version of your website.
Yeah,
it should be good. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for jumping on. Did you have any other?
Well, I had just kind of a random thought as a last thought for this live. If you could share one thing with, like, one piece of life advice or wisdom with somebody who is growing their online business, what would you share with them? It could be related to hiring or something totally different, but what's the little piece of Rebecca wisdom that you would share with somebody?
Oh gosh, that's so hard.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. No. So
no, it's fine. I think there's an element of like being an entrepreneur and being on this entrepreneurial journey can seem so exciting, and there's so many aspects of like freedom of your time and autonomy, and yeah, there's just many great aspects, I think, of being an entrepreneur and sort of being your own boss. But there will always be days, I think, for everyone where it feels like things aren't going right and everything and running a business is like the hardest thing ever, and you feel totally unmotivated and it's just not good, and that's like totally normal. And I think all my friends who are entrepreneurs have been through that, whether one day or 7 days or months, like, and I think like if you can just hold on to your purpose and like why you really started it and what you really where you really want to go, like you will absolutely get through it. And honestly, it's often the biggest learning curve. And yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we both really resonate with that because a lot of what we talk about is finding your purpose and finding your passion. And a lot of people, I think, have this misconception that once you find something that you are passionate about, you are never going to have a day that you don't enjoy doing it. And I just think that's not true. I think you can still have days that are tough, days that you might still not want to work on it. But because it's so meaningful and purposeful to you, you're going to work through those days.
Push through.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for hopping
on.
Oh,
thank you. I wish you were here in Da Nang.
Yeah, it's so
So
good
do we.
to see you again. We'll have to meet up really soon.
Yes.
I'd like to see you.
Soon in South America next year, maybe, or later.
Yes,
Do it.
yes, that'll be so fun.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Have a nice night.
See ya.
Bye.